Hello, so I'm back again, you guys. Welcome to Nothing Like Home. This is a recipe for some good old collard greens. I did put some roasted turkey in this. Oh my gosh, it's so delicious. It's also included in this recipe a chicken rice. Basically, I do want to call it garden rice. It's just, with all the herbs and the beautiful colors, it reminds you of a nice garden. I do show 3 different methods on how to cut your collard greens. Convenience is key, or whatever you're comfortable with is key. So that is why you do see me cutting it 2 different or 3 different ways on here, as well as how I go about cleaning them. So this is method 1, just stacking them on top of each other, and then cut around the center stem. You can either chop them and then clean them, or clean them and then chop them. It's up to you. So method 2 is just grabbing a bunch and just pulling the leaves, not what's on the stem, and kind of just tearing it at a downward angle. See, I'm left with nothing but the stems. Now I do leave some stems in there because once they're cooked through and they're tender, they are good, but we don't want most of them. So those will be discarded. Still wanted to chop them up, just roll them and chop them. Now when I place them in the bowl, I do place them into some salt water and vinegar. No necessary measurements for that. Just pour a good amount of it in there, enough to soak up the greens, and you'll be able to scrub them. The salt will help be a good scrubbing agent. And you can add a little bit of water and let them soak for about 30 minutes to an hour. This is only 1 bushel, a small pot of greens, so and here's the last method of a way you can cut the greens and get the stem out. Pretty quick. And then again, roll them up, cut them. That's 2 cups of water being added. Yeah, so you want to massage them, squeeze them, rub them, move them around, and still let it soak. Once you soak it for, like I said, 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how many bushels or how dirty it is. Then after that, you rinse them a couple of times, strain out the water, and you're good to go as far as cleaning them. Added more water so that they can actually soak. All right, and I do use vegetable and fruit wash to clean my fruits and veggies, so that's what that clip was. You can get that from any health food store. Now it's time to cook them or get started on the meat. Typically, the meat is in the same pot as the greens, but I started off late with this, trying to juggle, of course, everything. So I did have it cooking separately because I wanted it to hurry up and get tender. Just a pot of boiling water, some seasoning salt, some adobo, and garlic. I'm sorry, vinegar. And that's to make it tender. And I have that on a high boil, and I'll put the lid on there to lock in the moisture. So I had to cook that maybe about, that's not a lot of meat, but I had to cook it about a good hour to let it get tender to where I could just get it right off the bone with a fork. And I'm adding in some vegetable oil into the pot for the greens. See, I didn't even need a big old collard green pot because I didn't have a lot of greens this time. So for the seasonings, we have some bullion or chicken bullion because I didn't have a lot of broth, ground black pepper, some chicken rub, and of course Lari seasoning salt. See, look at the chicken broth. It's like, we are finished here. So I had to add in some chicken bouillon and flavor it up. And since I didn't have enough of that bouillon, I'm sorry, chicken broth. And look at all of those flavors. Oh, and there is some smoked paprika in there too. That's where the red is coming from. 2 tablespoons of vinegar, or just 1 if you don't like it too tangy. Go ahead and get all those flavors combined. Add in your greens. Add in your greens. I was too ready to get to this with some cornbread. Gotta say cornbread. Add in some more water, just enough to kind of slightly cover it. I'm not much of a measuring type person. It depends on the pot, it depends on your stove, it depends on how big the bushel of the greens are. But yep, you can see there it's just enough to slightly cover it, or barely be able to cover it. You have plenty of color in the sauce or juice, so that's how you know it'll be extremely flavorful. And I did add 2 pinches of hot sauce on here too. There will be a full description of all of the ingredients and measurements in the description box. That gives it a little tang, a little spice. Those are the ingredients for the garden rice, all of those seasonings. Look at that. Yes. It was smelling so good. Yeah, so all of those seasonings there, I just did, I believe, a half a teaspoon of them all, mixed them up into a rub. Got my rice measured, 1 cup of rice to 2 cups of water. Then you want to rinse your rice, get the starch off. That's what I put my rice in to rinse it. And just shake it, jiggle, jiggle, jiggle till the water runs clear. It's gonna run really cloudy and white at first, and then you just keep shaking it until it runs clear. Get your water in the pot. Adding my salt. We want it all in there. And then my seasoning, my poultry seasoning that I mix, and it will be in the description link below. Chicken rub and herbs, all the good stuff. I had some left over. So once the water came to a boil, I added in the rice. Let it boil for 1 minute. Put the lid on and turn it down to low medium heat. Now we gotta check on the greens. Yeah. Not too shabby. Check on the turkey. And here's the rice. And we want to fluff it with a fork, not a spoon, and let it sit for about 5 minutes before you fluff it too. And there are the greens with the smoked turkey meat. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. I know that you'll enjoy this recipe, and I do appreciate your time. Take care, and do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Peace out.